Good morning, it's Saturday the 18th of March and it's time to sow tomatoes. So hopefully I'm giving you this short masterclass on getting your tomatoes going if you haven't already. It's just starting to rain and next door's just let their dog out, so it's a bit noisy here, but hopefully you can hear the video. I normally aim to sow my tomatoes on about the 21st of March, but that's early part of next week, and unfortunately work gets in the way sometimes, so as this is the closest weekend, I'm going to crack on today. So I have one seed tray, I have a bucket of pre-mixed compost. This is some ordinary potting compost. It's from Moor and Gold, and just a little bit of perlite mixed in. So all I need to do is take a shovel, a scoop, and fill this tray. It's about 3/4 full, like so. And what I'm going to do is pick out a couple of lumps in there. These little bits of 2" by 1/2" inch wood are quite handy to have in a greenhouse, just to tamp down seed trays. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some rows, some longitudinal rows, like so. Just doing this roughly for showing you in here, but obviously I've got quite a lot of tomatoes, so over 50 varieties. So to make the job more economical, I'm just going to use this piece of cut off side of a milk bottle to split the tray. So now I've sort of having 5 rows, I've got 10 rows. Then I need to get my labels. So I have labels here to put into the tray where I sow. And just to show you where we are with that, I did a good bloop is there currently the propagator, which is pretty busy. I do have one I made earlier. Now I do put my tomato trays in the propagator an hour or so before I sow them, just to take the temperature of the compost up. Well, it's actually quite warm in here today, but I've already sowed this this back half here with these varieties. I'm now about to sow the front half. So we've got some seeds here. If you just bear with me while I'm doing this one-handed, I'm not very au fait with modern methods of videoing and stuff on these camera phones. It's too old for that anyway. So let's just open up the packet. I'm just going to put this down here and see if you can watch this. Hopefully you can still see. Successful, is it? Yeah. Let's just pop in there for now while I open up the seed. I think what I'll do is I'll just sow a couple. So what I'm doing here is popping the seed into my hand, and then I'm just going to pinch with my other finger down into these little rows here, and if they get a bit clumped up, there's always a little pricking tool handy just to spread them out a little bit. So what I'm doing is putting 6 or so in each of the rows. So rather than do everything, because it's a bit fiddly with one hand, this is what I will do right the way down through these other rows. I will then grab my watering can, and I'll just do it on this side because I've already sown this side. I'll give them a good water. I'll do that again in a minute, and then when I finish that, I will pop these in the propagator over here. Now if you have a less than warm space than a propagator, then what you can do is use a sheet of glass on top, which I do sometimes use when it's going to be cold at night, just to help keep the temperature up. But basically that's what I do for sowing tomatoes, and once these are actually growing, these will be pricked out once they've got a true leaf on them. So tomatoes, like most plants, will grow with 2 seed leaves called dicotyledons, di meaning 2. Grasses obviously have 1 leaf, so they're called monocotyledons. So the grasses will have, so the tomato plants will have 2 leaves, dicotyledons, and then they'll have the true leaves come after that. And that's when I normally prick them out into modules, like these modules here, which I've just pricked out lettuces yesterday. So there'll be another lesson on that in about 10 days time, 2 weeks time, once they're big enough to prick out. These should be up in the propagator in about 5 days. Some may be even quicker. I've had them up in 3 days before. So any questions on growing tomatoes? I've got nearly 50 varieties to sow to get about 250 plants. Send me a message. Enjoy your gardening.